Finally, July didn't give us many casts, so my workload is greatly reduced this time. No way, man. Death Battle did a long mega cast where they discussed matchups every 20 minutes for 3 hours straight? Listen, some of these matchups I've discussed, some I haven't. I'm honestly just going to wait until Fan Battlecast covers some of these matchups to talk about them. For one, they're only discussed for a short time, so there isn't much to say, and two, burnout is real, man. In any case, we still have 4 matchups to discuss for this month. So let's begin. Number 4, Cyborg versus Atom Smasher. The connections are that they are both cyborgs, one of which lost their humanity the more robotic they became, and the other kept their humanity and clung to it even after his body was changed? Look, I honestly couldn't find much on this. Liam repped Cyborg and Ben repped Atom Smasher. These next 2 entries were discussed in the same cast, so it's one of those situations where I really won't have much to talk about. But let's get right into it. Cyborg can do a lot. He has an arm blaster, EMPs, force fields, can open dimensional boom tubes and hush tubes, absorb energy, and regenerate. Atom Smasher has so many cool sci-fi guns that aren't elaborated on. Multiple explosions, the Sand Devastand, which can slow down time by up to 80%, although I think it's just slowing down perception, but I'm not sure. And he has the strongest stats in the whole series. Wasn't that quick? Even though Atom can resist hacking, he's not very smart and focuses mainly on killing. Compared to that, Cyborg fused with the Mother Box, gaining all of the info in the multiverse. Atom just can't compare to that intelligence. Plus, Cyborg can just absorb technology, so he can easily whittle away Atom Smasher's options just by touching him. I wish I liked this matchup more, but I just don't. I think both probably have better, and I'm not quite getting the connective tissue. If the pitcher sees this, please leave me a comment explaining more. Maybe they represented this matchup really poorly, but if you thought this matchup didn't have much to discuss, you ain't seen nothing yet. Number 3, Philip J. Fry versus David Lister. These 2 both were cryogenically frozen for a very long time, both waking up in a strange future where they constantly go on adventures. They are both somehow the biggest losers you've ever seen and the most important people in their own universe. And most importantly, they are both related to themselves. David is his own father, and Fry is his own grandfather. Weird shit, huh? There's literally only a few sentences to sum up their debate. They can both be superhuman, Fry with his worms and David with his microbots. They both have super speed, and both have lasers that can blow up planets. The only other thing they bring up is that Fry can't be mind-controlled and David can erase someone from existence with a wish. I'm pretty sure David wins because of that, but there's a lot missing in this debate, so I'll leave it at that. The only reason this ranks higher than the last one is because I think there is more connective tissue between the characters. Second time I've said this. Should probably change the wording, but I won't. But let's move on to bigger and brighter pastures. Number 2, King Kong versus Donkey Kong. They are both monkeys who are descendants of great leaders that are tasked with defending their island, and both were defeated by humans after the kidnapping of a woman. I mean, you get it, don't you? It's pretty obvious why it exists. Liam repped King Kong and Chad repped Donkey Kong. If I'm being completely honest, this seems like Hulk vs. Godzilla 2. Small powerful guy versus powerful big guy. But they do have some things that make this unique. Donkey Kong is very powerful, strong enough to punch someone into orbit, move the moon, and punch so fast that his fists ignite. But Donkey is more than brawn. He has his coconut gun, bombs, a bongo jetpack, and potentially every Mario power-up to exist. Well, I contest that last part, but I might be in the minority there. King Kong is strong enough to shake the Earth's axis and destroy a machine that was blocking out the sun, as well as being fast enough to dodge lasers. But this is compositing both characters, so they do have a lot more than this. King Kong in his games has the Beast Glove, which is a glove that delivers a big punch. King Kong can come back from smoke, and can fight characters that fly in interstellar speeds and shoot black holes, while Donkey Kong gets Skylanders and Smash Scaling, which just lets him win outright, in my opinion. Smash Scaling is pretty crazy. I wish this wasn't a composite because I think I'd like it more, but it still seems pretty fun. I'm not too hyped over Hulkzilla, so naturally I'm not clamoring for this one, but I see the potential and wouldn't be upset if it happened. A perfectly okay matchup for a perfectly okay person like me. Let's move on to my favorite DB cast this month. Number 1, the Medic versus Ricktophen. These 2 are genius German doctors who have a strong lack of morality. These doctors have even constructed ways to bring their allies back to life, and have come back to life themselves. This is a very popular matchup, it's just a shame how one-sided the debate seems here. Billy repped the Medic and Liam repped Ricktophen. This was mostly focused on Richttophen's lore, which is quite appropriate seeing as he is a very complicated character. Did you know Ricktophen has apparently memorized everything that will ever happen? That's a bit crazy. Not as crazy as him traveling through different times and realities, though. Oh, did you know that his blood lets him resist time and space manipulation? Wasn't this Call of Duty? What happened? Comparatively, Billy started the Medic's conversation by saying he has replaced everyone on his team's hearts with baboon hearts. Considerably less impressive. But the Medic does have the healing gun that will recover his allies' health. overcharge his teammates and himself, which will make them invulnerable, as well as give him a better shot of getting critical hits. He can boost his own speed, use the Crusader's crossbow that does more damage the farther away he is, and he can see how damaged his enemy is by looking at them, which is something we can all do, but okay. None of this saves him from Richttophen's multiversal strength, his different ray guns that will just vaporize enemies, the Monkey Bomb, his huge arsenal which includes every weapon in COD, the Thunder Gun, Baby Maker which makes someone small, radiation guns, black hole guns, multiple ways to nuke the map, his giant robot, and his ability to summon a giant dragon. I mean, what is the medic gonna do to all that? Use his magic that can crash down meteors? I mean, that's pretty cool, but that wouldn't bridge this gap. It wouldn't matter that he can keep getting resurrected by offering souls to the devil? Huh. I didn't know that bit. The medic also has apparently split his souls into different pieces and distributed them among his teammates. Unfortunately though, as much as I wanted that bit of info to change things, it just doesn't. Ricktophen has a spectral shield that will suck out a person's soul, can also revive himself in multiple ways, stop time, and has all of the power in the multiverse. With that and his endless knowledge giving him everything he needs to know on how to kill the medic for good, it's GG. I don't see the medic winning this fight in the slightest based on this debate. I still think the matchup is really thematic though, hence why it's this high on my list, but these videos are way more about the debate than the thematics. I honestly think people get confused on my rankings sometimes because of this. Maybe I'll switch how I talk about things in the future, but I rank these matchups based on how much I like them as a matchup, and not based on how their debate specifically was. As a matchup, this is a stomp that would have an amazing story and animation, and I hope they do it someday. Turning to the Fan Battle cast side, we also have 4 matchups they covered this month, but I'll only be discussing 3. Why is that? Am I copping out? Well, no. Club Penguins vs Mundo Cuturo's cast was really, I don't know how to say this, but it was underwhelming. If I went by what was covered in the cast, it would be ranked in last place. The issue is we barely heard anything on Mundo Cuturo's side, mostly hearing about Club Penguin. I talked to the pitcher for this matchup and got his approval to make my own dedicated video on this instead of just adding it here. No disrespect to anyone specifically, but I feel like I can make this sound so appealing after my research. So just wait for that video when it comes out. Let's talk about the other 3 matchups Fan Battlecast covered this month. Number 3, Detective Chimp vs Howard the Duck. These two are quite intelligent animalistic characters from Marvel and DC. They can fight, outsmart others, travel dimensions, and have met alternate versions of themselves. This matchup seems pretty fun. There's quite a lot you can do with it, and it seems the community really likes this as well. So let's get into it. Saul repped Detective Chimp and Sherm repped Howard the Duck. Without knowing much about these characters beforehand, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on this debate now. These two are very smart individuals, but it's quite clear that Detective Chimp would have the edge in the brains category. I mean, Batman literally goes to Chimp for advice sometimes, but Howard is a far better fighter. Howard has a bunch of guns, explosives, and laser weapons. Howard is a master marksman with an expert in quack fu, so whether it's close range or long range, Howard can hold his own. Chimp has his own revolver, which is cool and all, but his bread and butter is the Sword of Night, which is a blade only Bobo can yield. And yes, Bobo is Detective Chimp's real name. This blade can be summoned to him, fly, and act on its own. The sword is strong enough to damage heralds in DC, which is crazy impressive. The sword positions Bobo's arms to auto-parry any attack coming towards him, meaning that the bullets Howard shoots may not hit their mark no matter how good a marksman he is. The sword can create explosions, absorb energy, and shoot energy blasts, which is helpful to combat Howard's BFG 9000, which is strong enough to kill superhumans. It's nowhere near as powerful as the sword, but it would kill Bobo if he got hit directly. One of Bobo's best options is the stealth kill. We already know that Bobo's sword would kill Howard easily, and Bobo has many ways to do this without getting detected. Bobo can turn invisible using his horse, Comet, and once invisible, he can use his sword to create a portal around Howard to catch him off guard. He can also turn his sword into other objects to create a distraction. There's plenty of ways Bobo can get a sneak attack. Chimp has a better travel speed, but Howard has a better reaction speed. So this was always going to come down to their broken abilities. Howard would start off the battle by wanting to kill Bobo, so it wouldn't take him long to start bringing out some of his spells, along with his badass weapons that can kill Galactus. It's awesome, but it's really not needed to kill Chimp. What decided the winner for me though was the bar. Bobo can send Howard to this bar that gives him a ton of reality warping abilities, essentially letting Bobo do whatever he wants. With his sword, this bar, and the fact that he'll piss Howard off with his rage bait tactics, there's no doubt in my mind that Bobo would get the win first. But this one is so fun. Way better than any of the matchups DB talked about. It just goes to show that when you have a good debate, it could really bring out the potential to those who don't know much about the matchup to begin with. Enough of my petty jabs at DB, let's continue forward. Number 2, Loki versus Kefka. These two are magical tricksters that can channel power akin to a god. They both held high positions in their government only to betray those they were serving. They were both defeated by a band of heroes that worked together to end their reign, and they both ended up losing to the main hero because of their own arrogance and foolishness. I do really like this matchup. It's got great thematics, great contrast, and amazing potential. In this debate, Saul repped Loki and Josh Scorcher repped Kefka. You might remember Josh as the guy who repped Kefka in Kefka vs. Sephiroth and was also the guy who scaled Blaze completely wrong. Anyways, right off the bat, we have some problematic scaling. Loki could be omniversal while Kefka is more around universal, which is pretty contested, but I'll buy it for the sake of this debate. They can both destroy souls, but in terms of range of abilities, Loki has Kefka beat. Loki can bind souls, phase through objects, transmute people and objects, can reverse people's powers, can turn invisible, has control of the elements and weather, bring objects to life, absorb someone's power or switch them off, manipulate someone's memories, read their mind, has telekinesis, create illusions, mute people, etc. Kefka really didn't have much brought up here at all. We know that Kefka can use any spell in the Final Fantasy series, but we don't actually learn many specifics. Josh brings up Kefka's illusions, clones, and disguises, but that's really it. We can infer things like elemental magic, ultima, transmutation, etc., but that's nothing Loki hasn't contested with before. The main reason this was brought up, however, was to show that Kefka is actually resistant to all of these spells. Kefka resists all magic, status effects, getting his power stolen, and getting sealed. Those resistances are pretty busted, but Loki just wins this. I don't know how else to say it. Even if Loki's typical magic wouldn't work, he can still summon golems and rock creatures, can shrink his size, steal souls, regenerate, and most importantly, time travel. Kefka could possibly nullify someone's power and resistances, but that's not really said in confidence. I think Loki wins hands down, but this cast does lead to a question. How much does accuracy matter in these casts? One of the jury members, Wagonworks, mentions it at the end of the cast, but a lot of what we learn about Kefka, specifically the scaling, is completely grasping at straws. Now, I'm not saying Josh was lying, far from it, but it's possible he found the highest end scaling that could be used for Kefka to make him stand a chance. Personally, I don't really mind if someone makes points like that if nobody knows enough to contest them, but Fan Battle Cast doesn't operate on the same level as Death Battle Cast. Liam lies all the time during casts, it's a known fact, but Sherm's show doesn't follow that same mindset. I'm just rambling at this point, but long story short, try not to artificially make a debate closer by using logic that's easily contested, especially by a jury member. Jesus, Wagon, calm down, man. Now it's time for my favorite matchup this month. Number 1, Wamu vs. Iscander. These two are both honorable warriors who fight on chariots, each wanting a good challenge and a fun fight. This matchup won me over, and as someone who isn't a big Fate fan, that excites me. Like I said earlier, they both ride chariots. Wamu rides a normal chariot with zombie horses, and Iscander rides the Gordius wheel, which can fly through the air and shoot lightning. I'll let you decide which one is cooler. Iscander is hard to kill. You can only kill him by destroying his heart or brain, but Wamu is a far more experienced fighter. If Wamu gets close to a person's body, he can just absorb it. He can also phase his body into another person to either crush their heart or place objects inside of them. He can survive dynamite blasting the inside of his stomach and only has one weakness: the power of the sun. If the sun shines on him, he will get harmed. Iscander doesn't innately have much that could kill Wamu. He has a sword, a shield around his body, can increase his strength and speed, and is generally way faster than Wamu. But Wamu can use his Divine Sandstorm at long range, which are 2 tornadoes that he shoots from his hands. It has nothing to do with sand for some reason. He can create a wind shield, has a long horn that extends outward, he can even absorb wind and pressurize it into small beams. Iscander just has one thing that should take the win, and that is his Noble Phantasm. This is a pocket dimension that consists of a vast desert with a very prominent sun shining into the sky, as well as thousands of servants to aid in this fight, one of these servants directly being able to shoot a sunbeam. If Wamu is teleported into this dimension, he is fucked. Or is he? Wamu can turn invisible, which would save him from the sun's rays, as well as hide in the bodies of the other soldiers on the battlefield. I don't think this would be enough to give Wamu the win, but he isn't helpless in this situation. This is a really fun matchup, one that I think would be a really cool introduction to Fate in the show. Plus, let's get some more pre-stand JoJo fights, please. They are truly interesting and truly worth exploring. I think the Fan Battle Cast matchups really saved this month for me. Pretty much none of the other matchups I can really get into. Sure, they sound fun, but it's not something I really want. But hey, some fumbles here and there are gonna happen. August is a new month, and with it come new opportunities. I can't wait to see what matchups they discuss this month. I'll probably have a lot more to talk about. That's all for today though. Have a wonderful day, and take care.